Hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tony. I am currently playing Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo, and I am doing story times about things in my life. And these story times that I'm doing for this batch of recording were mostly suggested by my nephew and a few by my son. And cross off the ones that I already finished. So today's, I'm just going to tell you guys some stories about living in Arizona, because when I was 2, my family and I drove to Arizona to move. It was me, both of my parents, and my two older sisters. That was it. I forgot. My other sister wasn't born yet. And my 2 older sisters. So there's 3 kids, my parents. I don't know if my aunt, I think my Aunt Susie came with us, or maybe she came later. I don't really know the details there. And I don't know about Aunt and Uncle Dan, if they were already there, if they came with us. But anyway, I know for sure that it was my siblings and I, and our parents. And I was 2 at the time. And so obviously I don't really remember it. So everything that has been told to me about the drive there is all stuff that I have been told by my mother or my siblings. My sisters. I don't know why I say siblings like I have a brother. I have none. I have all sisters. And 2 brothers-in-law. And I do know that on the way there, I fell off of a picnic table and we had to sleep in hotels for the rest of the way because my neck swelled up so bad. I don't know if it was sprained or broken. My mother always says that she thinks that I actually broke it, but I don't think they ever took me to the doctor. I'm assuming they probably had no insurance since they were driving completely, across the country. But we get to Arizona, and I don't know where we lived at the time, but I don't really have a lot of memories of that. My earliest memory is actually going to be in a different story time, because it's a story time about like broken bones and various injuries and things like that. So I won't be telling that story right now. But my earliest memory is definitely in Arizona. My sister Tracy was born a few years after we moved to Arizona. So, okay. I don't really know what the point of that little thing was. But living in Arizona was definitely something. Like, I remember one of the houses that we lived in, we would have, like, it was literally like a game. We would have a different bug in the bathtub every single time we went in there, like to take a bath or whatever. And spiders. There was a time that my parents went to, I think it was my aunt's graduation, if I'm not mistaken, I think she was going, nope, that couldn't have been it, because I was there. I was at my aunt's graduation in Maine, I think it was, because that was the first time that I had lobster, so I was a baby then. I don't know where we lived at that time. Anyway, that's not the point here. The point is that I'm going to die. My parents went somewhere. It might have been my aunt's wedding. I don't know where it was, but my Uncle Dan stayed at the house and watched us. And he happened to sleep in my sister's room, my oldest sister's room. And thank goodness he did, because I guess something had been brought down from the attic, some box, and it was filled with black widow spiders. And my uncle was bit just hundreds of times all over his body. And if it had been my sister, it probably would have been a far worse outcome, but because my uncle was older, obviously his body handled the venom just fine. But I feel like if it had been, I'm gonna go get more lives because I don't want to have to do that first bridge level all over again. But I think that if it had been my older sister, because she was obviously so young, it definitely probably would have made her a lot sicker than it made my uncle. Because contrary to what you see in like movies and TV shows, a black widow biting you one time is not going to instantly kill you. But it definitely wasn't a fun time for my uncle. But yeah, so that's one thing that happened. There was a time where a section of our schoolyard had to be like fenced off or like roped off or whatever because there was a rattler, I think it was a rattlesnake, in the schoolyard. There was like a hole or whatever, and that was just like a normal thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's so wild because here, if there was like a rattlesnake on the schoolyard, I think that would be a much bigger deal than it was when I was in elementary school in Arizona. I just remember that there was a part of and of course, the story that all the kids told was it was a king cobra in the schoolyard, but I don't think king cobras are native to Arizona. I'm just gonna throw that out there. So it was just a rattlesnake, but still, that's dangerous for children. A rattlesnake bite is not going to be a good time either way. But yeah, so that's something that happened. There was a time when there was a mountain lion on the loose, and they must have like said something on the news, I'm going to assume. And my sister was playing outside, and my mother went to call her in, and if I'm not mistaken, saw the mountain lion like across the street. And quickly made my sister come inside. There was like times where we'd have to come inside and stop playing because there were sandstorms. Like I remember we did like a course on like surviving in the desert. That was just like a normal thing. Like we learned, how to get water out of cactus if need be, how long to make your canteen last, and when to use your canteen, when not to. We carried canteens everywhere we went. If you don't know what a canteen is, it's just like a canister. It's like a big, like, ours was round. It's like a round metal, like, canister with like a screw-on lid, and ours was in like a little, almost like a crossbody bag, but it was like made for it, and it fit inside of it, and you wore it over your body, and that way if you get lost in the desert, you have water. Because obviously getting lost in the desert, I mean, you could get lost forever. Deserts are big. And so we were right there in the desert. So we had to know how to do that kind of stuff. We had to know how to survive, basically. And that was something that I learned from a very young age. Of course, now, dropping in a desert, I'm not going to remember a thing. This was, 30-something years ago. So I'm not going to remember a single thing. But it was cool to have that knowledge, back then. And what was the other thing? What other things do I have? Okay, here's a funny one. When they would do fireworks for the 4th of July, fireworks were lit off in the mountains. And, oopsie, bye Yoshi. And so, sorry, trying to concentrate. So, we would go in our family friends, like, RV that they had, and we would watch the fireworks on the mountain. And I remember there would be a guy up there, obviously, lighting off fireworks. That's how fireworks work. And I remember as a kid being genuinely worried for this man who was lighting off fireworks on this mountain, because I was 100% certain that he was going to light himself. It was right there. I was 100% certain that this man was going to light himself on fire. And I was terrified. And I remember my dad having to console me and, reassure me that this dude, why did I do that? Why did I jump? That this dude was not going to light himself on fire. And thankfully he never did, because, oh my God, I would have been scarred for life. But I remember when we moved to Michigan again, being very relieved that the fireworks were lit off on the river. Like, the men were on barges, and, you know, if they were to catch themselves on fire, they could just drop right down into the river. I remember that being a great source of relief for me as a child. But yeah, so, and then there was a mountain that was technically a hill that we used to climb. I remember just being so proud of myself for being a mountain climber. I mean, real mountains, they were not that big, but it was still cool. Let's see, what other things happened. I mean, I know that this happens other places too, but I remember it being really weird when it would be raining across the street, or like next door even, like the curtain line. It'd be raining right next door at the neighbors and not raining at our house, or raining across the street. Like, I remember standing in the yard and just watching it be raining across the street, but it wasn't raining where I was standing. Which again is obviously something that happens everywhere. It's not just a me thing. Or not just a Arizona thing. And then the drive back when we decided to move back to Michigan, I do remember that a little bit better, because I was 7 at that point. We went, and there was also this patch of sidewalk me and my cousin used to roller skate on. We called it our property. I think it was just like around the corner from my house. We definitely didn't own it, but it was our property, and that's where we roller skated. Weird kids. But anyway, the drive to Michigan was me, both of my parents, my now 3 siblings, because I had a younger sister now. My mother had the sister right below me while we were in Arizona. And then she also was pregnant with my youngest sister. I don't think we knew that yet. Like, my sister's 9, but she was like 6 weeks pregnant or something like that when we left. Or no, she had to have been 3 months pregnant, because my little sister was born in in January, and we went in July. So yeah, she was pregnant. But anyway, we drove, and we decided to take the scenic route so that we could see everything. And one story that we hear a lot is how my littlest sister at the time asked where the faucet was when she saw the Colorado River, because she had never seen an actual river before. So that was funny. There was a lot of disasters on that trip. I remember when we were first supposed to leave, the dog, we had 2 dogs. We had a dog named Mindy that we gave to a farm, and then a dog named Tramp that we thought was a boy that we had found. He had gotten his leg caught in our fence, I believe, and we ended up keeping him. He gave birth in the backseat of the car right before we were supposed to leave. So he had to go off to that same farm. I don't know where those dogs really went. Please don't ever tell me. But, and then I remember we went to the Grand Canyon. We went to the Four Corners. Hold on, because my sister reminded me of some of the stuff. I have a screenshot. Oh, Flintstone Park. Of course, Flintstone Park. I don't think Flintstone Park is open anymore. I think they closed it, but Google it. I loved that place. It was so cool. Especially if you were a kid in, the late 80s who watched the Flintstones. Hello. But it was really cool. We did see the Grand Canyon, like I've already said. And then apparently my sister said the horror of Kansas, but I don't know what that means. I don't know if something happened or if it's just the fact that Kansas is terrifying because tornadoes. She didn't elaborate on if there was a story there or not, and I forgot to ask. But apparently, as soon as we drove under the Welcome to Michigan sign, the drive shaft on the car we were driving broke. So, That's not even a little bit surprising given the luck that my family had. I do remember my dad and my uncle built the trailer. Like built, like, obviously there was a trailer, but they built like the wood enclosure around it. And then they painted it this ugly beige. And I will never understand to this day why they painted it that color. Why did it have to be that beige, guys? What was the reasoning behind that? That was so ugly. I still distinctly remember. It was so ugly. Why did they paint it that color? They just didn't want it to be plain wood, I guess, but like, you couldn't have gotten a less ugly color. Maybe they were trying to make it blend into the Arizona desert, but like, we were leaving Arizona. Nothing needed to blend. That color was so gross. Oh no. Well, okay. Anyway, that's Arizona. That's it. I mean, I actually talked for a long time about that, which kind of surprises me because I didn't feel like I had that many stories to tell because I was young and a lot of my memories are fuzzy, but there was definitely some experiences, you know. If you live in Arizona, you know what I'm talking about. It's Tucson specifically. So if you happen to live in Tucson, Arizona in the mid-80s, and you remember the Moore girls, well, I'm one of them. I know my sister, my oldest sister, has semi-kept in touch with her two best friends from that era. I literally can't remember my best friend's last name. Her first name was Katerina. Remember that. But couldn't tell you her last name. And yeah, really no point of that. But anyway, I'm going to end this video here since I finished this level. And thank you guys for watching. Please leave it a like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to. If you're not already subscribed, let me know don't let me know where you live. Don't do that. But let me know if you have any cool stories, or if you have ever been to Arizona. If you live there, don't tell me that. But anyway, I will see you guys in the next video where I'm going to tell you guys an interesting story. So thanks for watching. Bye.